Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going to completely challenge everything you thought you knew about paying off debt. We're pulling directly from Steve Green's book, Financial Health in the 30 Steps, to unpack exactly why building a starter buffer is, frankly, your ultimate secret weapon. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by your finances, well, let's just get right into it.
Now, you might be sitting there asking yourself, wait, shouldn't I just throw literally every extra dollar I have at my debt? And hey, it's a completely reasonable question, because mathematically speaking, high-interest debt grows incredibly fast. So saving money right now, it probably feels painfully inefficient. I mean, why save when you owe so much, right? Well, let's take a slightly closer look at what actually happens in the real world.
See, Steve Green reveals this profound behavioral truth. Instability creates new debt faster than interest does. Just think about it for a sec. Without any kind of buffer, every single flat tire, medical prescription, or, surprise school fee just forces you to whip out that credit card all over again. Your progress just completely collapses under the slightest bit of everyday pressure.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the debt and savings paradox.
We really need to dismantle this perfectionist myth of saving. While pure math dictates you should definitely pay off your debt first because of compound interest, human behavior shows us something entirely different. A lack of savings leaves borrowing as your absolute only tool when a rainy day hits. You just cannot calculate your way out of debt if you are completely exposed to everyday emergencies. It's kind of like trying to bail out a leaky boat with a spoon.
Which brings us to Section 2, calming your nervous system.
Research actually shows that financial unpredictability drives massive physical anxiety. You're basically living in this constant jump scare mode. But having even a tiny buffer, it acts like a literal helmet for your nervous system. Obviously, you hope you never actually need to use it, but just having it there shifts your brain from constant threat mode to a state of cautious stability. It turns actual panic-inducing emergencies into mere annoying inconveniences.
Let's put this into perspective and look at the real cost of everyday hiccups. Preventing just one single $35 late fee or an overdraft charge by having a $25 buffer, that is a massive, immediate return on your investment. It stops the bleeding instantly, keeps you entirely in control, and prevents a tiny little issue from spiraling into a brand new credit card swipe.
All right, let's move on to Section 3, breaking the later trap.
We all constantly fall into these nasty perfectionist traps, don't we? Telling ourselves things like, oh, I'll start when I can easily put away $500, or believing that savings only actually count if they're, impressive. We kind of trick ourselves into thinking a small amount won't fix a major crisis, so we just wait around for our income to increase and end up doing nothing. But true financial stability is built on daily habits and structure, not these giant grand gestures.
So remember this absolute golden rule: the skill comes before the scale. Seriously, if you can't save $25 right now, you aren't going to magically save $500 later. Today is completely about building that fundamental baseline skill of just holding on to your money, regardless of the actual amount.
Let's get practical with Section 4, your quick action plan.
Here is your straightforward roadmap, and you can literally execute this in under 45 minutes today. Step 1, pick a realistic target somewhere between $10 and $100. Step 2, designate a completely separate account. Step 3, make that transfer today. And Step 4, define your strict usage rules. Honestly, it really is that simple to start building your armor. Now, why on earth are we focusing on a number as small as $25? Well, because even a $25 deposit is a massive, incredibly empowering signal to your brain that money can move in a direction other than just out. It proves to your nervous system that you are actively taking control, and that immediately begins to reduce your background anxiety and drastically improve your overall mood.
Let's explore why this works in Section 5, the power of separation.
To really protect your money, we're relying on a fascinating behavioral economics concept called mental accounting. See, when your savings are mixed in with your everyday checking or spending money, they just become emotionally available to be spent. Putting that cash in a completely separate place creates mental friction. And guess what? Friction changes behavior.
This is exactly why giving your account a highly specific emotional name is an absolute game changer. Labels like Don't Panic Fund, the Calm Account, or Operation Stay Afloat create massive psychological friction. If you're suddenly tempted to buy something you don't really need, transferring money out of a Don't Panic Fund just feels entirely wrong, doesn't it? It stops impulsive spending right in its tracks.
You also absolutely must clearly define your rules to prevent self-sabotage. Car repairs and unexpected medical copays? absolutely buffer-worthy. Sales shopping, birthday gifts, or those last-minute concert tickets? Definitely not buffer-worthy. Clearly defining what constitutes an actual emergency ensures this money is strictly used as that nervous system support tool we talked about earlier.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, Changing Your Financial Identity.
I love this so much. One reader perfectly summarized this whole habit-building phase by saying, "I became a squirrel hiding acorns in an app." It's a funny little image, sure, but it is psychologically spot on. You're developing a survival instinct that actually works for you. You're storing out of strategy now, rather than just hoarding out of fear.
Ultimately, this whole process means you are no longer someone walking around with zero protection. That very first tiny deposit fundamentally changes your financial identity from someone who is fragile to someone who prepares. And let me tell you, once that identity shifts, scaling up your savings becomes incredibly natural and just so much easier. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to really ask yourself, is perfectionism keeping you vulnerable? Are you just waiting for the perfect moment while remaining entirely exposed to the very next emergency life throws your way? Remember, the power to build your armor starts with literally just a few dollars today. So the real question is, are you going to take that first step?